أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Dear student, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Today is our 10th lecture on powder X-ray diffraction, and the course is X-ray diffraction techniques. Course code is 5134. Dear student, the key concept of our today lectures are demonstration of X-ray diffraction, instrumentation of powder X-ray diffractometer, X-ray source including X-ray tube, and in X-ray tube we will discuss different tubes like Crookes tube, also known as cold cathode tube, then history of Crookes tube, how a Crookes tube works, operation of Crookes tube, cold cathode and hot cathode, advantages and disadvantages of Crookes tube, then Coolidge tube, also known as hot cathode tube, then end window tubes, side window tubes. These are the types of Coolidge tube, and then operation of Coolidge tube, and in the last we will discuss rotating anode tube. For demonstration of X-ray diffraction, kindly see the following video. This is the link of YouTube, and similarly another video of X-ray diffraction. Here is the link of YouTube video for X-ray diffraction. स्टूडेंट, अगर आप इन दो वीडियोस को देख लेंगे तो इनमें आपकी जो एक्सरे मशीन है उसके डिफरेंट पार्ट्स जो हैं वो दिखाए गए हैं। आगे जाके हम इनकी डिटेल देखेंगे वन बाय वन कि हर आपके जो पार्ट का फंक्शन क्या है और वो उसकी प्रॉपर लोकेशन जो है मशीन के ऊपर कहाँ पे है। तो इन दो वीडियोस के अंदर आपको ये चीज़ प्रॉपर क्लियर अप्रोप्रिएट वे के साथ बताई गई है। तो इन दो वीडियोस को जो है आपने देख लेना है ज़रा गौर से। इंस्ट्रूमेंटेशन ऑफ powder X-ray diffractometer, X-ray source, first of all, which include Crookes tube, cold cathode tube, Coolidge tube, also known as hot cathode tube, and different other tubes we will discuss here. Collimator, monochromator. Monochromator include filter type and crystal type. Then detectors, including photographic methods, counter method, Geiger-Müller counter, proportional counter, scintillation counter, solid state semiconductor detector, semiconductor detectors. Note, the word in phase is used for constructive interference and out of phase is used for destructive interference. This is a diagram of Coolidge X-ray tube from around 1970. The heated cathode is on the left and the anode is right. The X-rays are emitted downwards. So this is the schematic view of Coolidge X-ray tube. Now we will discuss in detail different X-ray source. What is X-ray tube? An X-ray tube is a vacuum tube that converts electrical input power into X-rays. X-ray tubes evolved from experimental Crookes tubes with which X-rays were first discovered on November 8, 1895 by the German physicist William Conrad Roger. The availability of this controllable source of X-rays created the field of radiography, the imaging of partly opaque objects with penetrating radiation. In contrast to other sources of ionizing radiation, X-rays are only produced as long as the X-ray tube is energized. X-ray tubes are also used in computerized tomography, scanners, airport luggage scanners, X-ray crystallography, material and structure analysis, and for industrial inspection. Increasing demand for high performance computed tomography, scanning and angiography systems has driven development of very high performance medical X-ray tubes. This is a principle of an X-ray tube. This is cathode, which is a filament, and electrons are ejected from this cathode on anode. Fast electron bombardment, and from this anode X-rays are evolved from beryllium windows. So this is the basic principle of an X-ray tube. Crookes tube, also known as cold cathode tube. What is the history of Crookes tube? A Crookes tube is an early experimental electrical discharge tube with vacuum invented by English physicist William Crookes and others around 1869 to 1875, in which cathode rays streams of electrons were discovered. William Roger discovered X-rays using the Crookes tube in 1895. The term Crookes tube is also used for the first generation cold cathode X-ray tubes, which evolved from the experimental Crookes tubes and were used until about 1920. Until the late 1980s, X-ray generators were merely high voltage AC to DC variable power supplies. In the late 1980s, a different method of control was emerging called high-speed switching. This followed the electronics technology of switching power supplies and allowed for more accurate control of the X-ray unit, higher quality results, and reduced X-ray exposures. This is the figure of Crookes X-ray tube from around 1910. Crookes X-ray tube from early 19th. The cathode is on the right. The anode is in the center with attached heat sink at left. The electrode at the 10 o'clock position is the anticathode. The device at top is the softener used to regulate the gas pressure. Sir William Crookes and William Roger. William Roger discovered 1895 the X-rays. In 1901, he was honored the Nobel Prize for Physics. In 1995, the German Post edited a stamp dedicated to R.C. Roger. How a Crookes tube works? As we know, it is also known as cold cathode tube. Electrons are generated by ionization of the residual air in the tube instead of heated filament, so they were partially but not completely evacuated. They consisted of a glass bulb with around 10 to minus 6 to 5 into 10 to minus 8 atmospheric pressure of air, 0.1 to 0.005 Pascal. An aluminum cathode plate at one end of the tube created a beam of electrons which struck a platinum anode target at the center, generating X-rays. The anode surface was angled so that the X-rays would radiate through the side of the tube. The cathode was concave so that the electrons were focused on a small spot on the anode, approximating a point source of X-rays, which resulted in sharper images. The tube had a third electrode, an anticathode, connected to the anode. It improved the X-ray output, but the cathode by which it achieved this is not understood. A more common arrangement used a copper plate anticathode similar in construction to the cathode in line with the anode such that the anode was between the cathode and the anticathode. Operation of the Crookes tube. When the voltage applied to a Crookes tube is high enough, around 5000 volts or greater, It can accelerate the electrons to a fast enough velocity to create X-rays. When they hit the anode or the glass wall of the tube, the fast electrons emit X-rays when their path is bent sharply as they pass near the high electric charge of an atom's nucleus. A process called Bremsstrahlung, or they knock an atom's inner electrons into a higher energy level, and these in turn emit X-rays as they return to their former energy level. A process called X-ray fluorescence. Crookes tubes were unreliable. As time passed, the residual air would be absorbed by the walls of the tube, reducing the pressure. This increased the voltage across the tube, generating harder X-rays until eventually the tube stopped working. To prevent this, softener devices were used, as we see in the above diagram. A small tube attached to the side of the main tube contained a mica sleeve or chemical that released a small amount of gas when heated, restoring the correct pressure. The glass envelope of the tube would blacken in use due to the X-ray affecting its structure. What is cold cathode and hot cathode? A cold cathode is a cathode that is not electrically heated by a filament. A cathode may be considered cold if it emits more electrons than can be supplied by thermionic emission alone. It is used in gas discharge lamps such as neon lamps, discharge tubes, and some types of vacuum tube. The other type of cathode is the hot cathode, which is heated by electric current passing through a filament. A cold cathode does not necessarily operate at a low temperature. It is often heated to its operating temperature by other methods, such as the current passing from the cathode into the gas. Advantage: point source X-rays, which resulted in sharper images. Perhaps the first major advance in X-ray tube design was the incorporation of a metal target, something that resulted in greater X-ray intensities than possible with the glass target. Nevertheless, the use of glass as a target had some advantages and the method was not completely abandoned. Disadvantage: it is unreliable. The next one is Coolidge tube, also known as hot cathode tube, works with a very good quality vacuum about 10 to minus 4 Pascal or 10 to minus 6 torr. The electrons are produced by thermionic effect from a tungsten filament heated by an electric current. There are two design: end window tubes and side window tubes. What is end window tube? It have thin transmission target to allow X-rays to pass through the target. And what is side window tube? An electrostatic lens to focus the beam onto a very small spot on the anode. A window designed for escape of the generated X-ray photons. Power would be 0.1 to 10 kilowatt. This is the Coolidge X-ray tube from around 1917. The heated cathode is on the left and anode is right. The X-rays are emitted downwards. This is the target and this is cathode filament. This is the glass envelope. From this filament, electrons are produced and they strike on the target, mean anode, and produce X-rays. Operation: the Crookes tube was improved by William Coolidge in 1930. The Coolidge tube, also called hot cathode tube, is the most widely used. It works with a very good quality vacuum, about 10 to minus 4 Pascal or 10 to minus 6 torr. In the Coolidge tube, the electrons are produced by thermionic effect from a tungsten filament heated by an electric current. The filament is the cathode of the tube. The high voltage potential is between the cathode and the anode. The electrons are thus accelerated and then hit the anode. There are two designs: end window tubes and side window tubes. End window tubes usually have transmission target which is thin enough to allow X-ray to pass through the target. X-rays are emitted in the same direction as the electrons are moving. This is a Coolidge side window tube. Here C represent filament, mean cathode, and A represent to anode. Here W in and W out for water inlet and outlet of the cooling device. So this is a schematic diagram of Coolidge side window tube. In one common type of end window tube, the filament is around the anode, annular or ring shaped. The electrons have a curved path. What is special about side window tubes is an electrostatic lens is used to focus the beam onto a very small spot on the anode. The anode is specially designed to dissipate the heat and where resulting from this intense focus barrage of electrons. Some anodes are mechanically spun to increase the area heated by the beam. For example, a decoupled rotating anode are cooled by circulating coolant. Indirectly, on most rotating anodes, the anode is precisely angled at 1 to 20 degrees of perpendicular to the electron current, so as to allow the escape of some of the X-ray photons which are emitted perpendicular to the direction of the electron current. The anode is usually made out of tungsten. The tube has a window design for escape of the generated X-ray photons. The power of a Coolidge tube usually ranges from 0.1 to 18 kilowatt. What is rotating anode tube? A considerable amount of heat is generated in the focal spot, the area where the beam of electrons coming from the cathode strike to of a stationary anode. Rather, a rotating anode lets the electron beam sweep a larger area of the anode, thus redeeming the advantage of a higher intensity of emitted radiation along with reduced damage to anode compared to its stationary state. The focal spot temperature can reach 2500 degree during an exposure, and the anode assembly can reach 1000 degree following a series of large exposure. Typical anodes are a tungsten rhodium target on a molybdenum core backed with graphite. The rhodium makes the tungsten more ductile and resistant to wear from the impact of the electron beams. The molybdenum conducts heat from the target. The graphite provides thermal storage for the anode and minimize the rotating mass of the anode. This is a simplified rotating anode tube schematic. A represents the anode, C for cathode, T anode target, and W is for X-ray window. This is a typical rotating anode X-ray tube. This is a rotating anode, and this is cathode, and this is the glass envelope, and here are bearings. Dear student, here is the end of our today lectures of order X-ray diffraction. Any question regarding to our this lecture or to our previous lectures? You can send me that question at my email ID amuslimchemist@hotmail.com, and I shall send you the most appropriate answer of your question as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.